My name is Amina. I am 22 years old, and I live in a small apartment in a quiet part of the city. Life has not always been easy, but I have a big dream. I want to speak English fluently, work in technology, and travel the world one day. This is the story of my days, how I live, learn, and grow a little bit more every single day. 2 years ago, my life was very different. I used to wake up late, scroll through my phone for hours, and feel tired all the time. I had no clear plan, no real goal. One evening, I looked at myself in the mirror and asked, is this how I want to live the rest of my life? The answer was no. That night, I wrote a new sentence in my notebook. I will build a better life, one day at a time. From that moment, I decided to change my daily routine. I didn't want a perfect life. I just wanted better days. More peaceful mornings, more learning time, and more small steps toward my dreams. My days may look simple to others, but to me, they are my foundation. Every day is a new chance to move forward, to improve, to become stronger. That's why I want to share my story, not because I have a perfect life, but because I believe in progress. In this story, I will take you through one of my typical weeks. You'll see how I wake up, how I study, how I face challenges, and how I stay motivated. Maybe you will find a part of yourself in my story too. Because the truth is, success doesn't happen in one big moment. It grows in the quiet power of our days. Every day, I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. At first, it was hard to get up early. I loved sleeping in. But now my morning is my favorite part of the day. It is quiet. It is calm. It feels like the world is still sleeping, and I have time just for myself. The first thing I do is sit on my bed for a few minutes. I take 3 deep breaths and say, "Thank you for this new day." This small moment helps me feel grateful and positive, even if I have a busy day ahead. Then, I stretch my body and drink a glass of warm water. I walk slowly to my desk, where I keep my little notebook, a pen, and a small English book. I read one page in English, out loud, even if I make mistakes. Reading out loud helps me improve my pronunciation and gain confidence. After that, I write 3 things in my notebook. One thing I am grateful for. One thing I want to do today. One word or sentence I learned in English. Here is an example from last week. Grateful for my health. Today's goal. Finish my homework. English word, consistency. This simple habit takes less than 10 minutes, but it gives me energy and purpose. Then, I make my bed. It's a small task, but it makes my room look clean and organized. After that, I go to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. I usually eat something simple, bread with cheese, some fruit, and a hot cup of tea. While I eat, I listen to soft music or an English podcast. It's a peaceful moment. Before getting ready for school or work, I take a quick shower, dress comfortably, and stand in front of the mirror. I look at myself and say, "You are strong. You are learning. Keep going." This is how I start my day. No rush, no noise, just simple steps that make me feel ready. I believe that how we start the day shapes how we live the day. That's why my mornings are slow, quiet, and full of intention. After my morning routine, it's time for learning. This is one of the most important parts of my day. I believe that when we stop learning, we stop growing. That's why I give time every day to study, read, and improve my skills. Most mornings, I study English for 45 minutes. I use a small notebook, my phone, and a few websites. Sometimes I watch YouTube videos with English subtitles. Other times, I listen to short English podcasts and write down the words I don't know. One of my favorite things to do is shadowing. I listen to a sentence in English and try to repeat it exactly like the speaker. At first it felt strange, but now it's fun, like I'm training my mouth to speak like a native speaker. After my English practice, I switch to my schoolwork. I study computer science, so I spend time reading programming books, reviewing my notes, and practicing code. Some topics are difficult, but I try to stay calm. I break big problems into small ones. I tell myself, you don't have to understand everything now. Just understand one piece today. I also watch online lessons on platforms like YouTube or Coursera. Sometimes I join free Zoom webinars on technology or personal growth. These sessions make me feel connected to others who are also learning, dreaming, and working hard. Learning is not always easy. There are days when I feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. But I remind myself why I started. I imagine the future version of me, speaking English well, working in a job I love, helping others. That picture gives me the strength to continue. One thing that helps me stay organized is my planner. Every Sunday, I write my goals for the week. For example, learn 10 new English words. Practice Java programming for 1 hour. Watch 2 videos on artificial intelligence. Read 1 chapter from my book. When I finish a task, I put a little heavy check mark next to it. That small check mark feels like a victory. Learning is not something I do once a week. It's something I build into my days, like brushing my teeth or eating a meal. A little every day becomes a lot over time. That's the magic of consistent learning. After my morning learning time, the rest of the day becomes more active and sometimes more difficult. I have responsibilities at home and outside. I try to manage everything the best I can, but some days are harder than others. In the afternoon, I often go to school or attend online classes. I listen carefully, take notes, and ask questions when I don't understand. Sometimes the topics are complex, especially in subjects like artificial intelligence or database systems. But I always try to stay focused. I tell myself, if I try today, it will be easier tomorrow. When I return home, I help with housework. I clean the kitchen, do the laundry, or cook dinner with my mother. These are small things, but they are important. I believe we grow not only by studying, but also by taking care of the people around us. Some days, I also help my younger sister with her homework. She looks up to me, and I want to be a good example. I explain things to her slowly and smile when she understands. Helping her reminds me of how far I've come in my own learning. By the end of the day, I often feel tired. My body wants to rest, but my mind still wants to learn. There's always more to do, more to understand, more to practice. But I've learned that I cannot do everything in one day. I just do my best and leave the rest for tomorrow. One day, I was feeling completely overwhelmed. My school project was late, the kitchen was messy, and my head hurt from thinking too much. I sat on the floor and wanted to cry. But then, I remembered a simple sentence I once read. Breathe. You are doing better than you think. So I took a deep breath, stood up, and did one thing at a time. First, I cleaned the table. Then, I made a cup of tea. And slowly, I started to feel stronger again. Real life is not always easy. There are tasks we don't like, problems we didn't expect, and moments when we want to quit. But I've learned that strength is not about doing everything perfectly. Strength is about showing up, even when it's hard. And every time I finish my work, every time I complete a small responsibility, I feel proud. Because I know I'm not wasting my days. I'm building something real, something lasting, one effort at a time. Not every day is beautiful. Some days are heavy. Some days are quiet, and not in a good way. There are times when I feel like I am walking alone, and nobody understands what I'm trying to do. There was one morning when I woke up and felt no energy. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I just wanted to lie in bed and forget everything. I had a long to-do list, but I looked at it and thought, what's the point? Sometimes the results of my efforts are not fast. I study every day, but I still make mistakes in English. I write code, but sometimes the program doesn't run. I try to stay motivated, but I get tired. These moments can make me doubt myself. I've also had people say things that hurt me. You study too much. You're wasting time learning English. Why don't you just find a job and stop dreaming? At first, their words made me feel small. But over time, I realized something important. People don't always understand your journey, and that's okay. They don't see the late nights, the quiet progress, the fire in your heart. But you do. And that's enough. When I face challenges, I try to use simple tools to help myself. I write in my journal about how I feel. I listen to inspiring videos on YouTube. I take a walk and breathe deeply. I read messages from my past self, words I wrote when I felt strong. One of my favorite sentences is, "You've survived every hard day so far. You will survive this one too." I also remind myself that learning and growing are not straight lines. They go up and down. Some days are full of energy, and some days are slow. But every day counts. Even rest days are part of the process. Now, when a difficult moment comes, I don't run from it. I sit with it. I ask, what is this challenge trying to teach me? Maybe it's teaching me patience. Maybe it's building my strength. I've learned that we don't need to be perfect. We just need to keep going. Even if it's slow, even if it's hard, even if we feel like giving up. Because those are the days that build our true character. After a long day of learning, working, and managing responsibilities, the evening is my time to slow down. It is when I relax, reflect, and recharge my energy for the next day. I believe that peaceful evenings are just as important as productive mornings. Around 7 p.m., I prepare dinner with my family. We sit together, eat, and talk about our day. These moments are simple, but they bring me joy. I listen to my mother's stories, my sister's laughter, and sometimes, we all sit in silence, just enjoying the food and the company. After dinner, I take a warm shower and wear comfortable clothes. I clean my desk and prepare my books for tomorrow. Then, I sit down at my small table with a notebook and a cup of tea. This is my favorite moment of the day. I open my notebook and write about what happened during the day. What did I learn today? What was difficult? What made me smile? Even if the day was hard, I try to find one good thing. Even if it's something small, like finishing a task or learning a new word. Writing helps me see progress, even when it feels invisible. Sometimes I also write letters to my future self. I say things like, keep going. You are doing your best. One day, all of this will make sense. After journaling, I spend a few minutes watching a short motivational video on YouTube, usually in English. Listening to positive words in the evening helps me sleep with hope in my heart. If I still have some energy, I read one page of a book or review my English vocabulary. But I try not to push myself too hard. The evening is not for stress. It's for softness. Before I go to sleep, I close my eyes and say a little prayer of thanks. I don't ask for much. I just say, thank you for today. Help me do better tomorrow. Then I sleep, knowing that I did my best. Not a perfect day, but an honest one. A day filled with effort, kindness, and small victories. This quiet routine gives me balance. It reminds me that life is not only about running, it is also about resting, breathing, and feeling peace in simple things. My weekends are special. They are different from my weekdays. On Saturdays and Sundays, I don't have school, and I don't follow a strict schedule. But that doesn't mean I do nothing. Weekends are my creative time, the moment when I explore, imagine, and create new things. I usually wake up a little later, around 8 a.m. But I still start with my morning routine: a deep breath, a grateful heart, a little English reading, and tea. The difference is that I don't rush. I move slowly, with peace. On weekends, I give more time to my passions. I love writing stories, designing simple websites, and creating ideas for mobile apps. Sometimes I sit for hours at my desk, writing and drawing in my notebook, planning future projects. One of my favorite weekend activities is recording voice messages in English. I talk about my week, my dreams, or even describe something I see around me. Then, I listen to my recording and check for mistakes. This simple practice helps me improve my speaking and feel more confident. I also work on my YouTube channel. I think about video ideas, write scripts, record voiceovers, and test new styles. It's not easy, but it's exciting. Every weekend, I try to learn something new, maybe how to make better thumbnails, or how to speak more clearly for my audience. Sometimes, I go to a quiet cafe with my laptop. I order a hot drink and sit near the window. I like to watch people pass by while I write or study. This change of environment helps me feel fresh and inspired. Weekends are also a time for connection. I talk with friends, reply to messages, or video call someone I miss. These conversations bring joy and remind me that I'm not alone. And of course, I take time to rest. I listen to music, watch a movie in English with subtitles, or sit in the sun and do nothing. Rest is part of creativity. When my mind is calm, new ideas come easily. At the end of the weekend, I review what I did and write my plan for the coming week. I look at my small wins, even if it's just learning one new English word or finishing one video idea. I tell myself, "Good job. You used your time well." My weekends are not lazy. They are gentle, joyful, and full of discovery. They help me reset, recharge, and remember why I'm working so hard. As I look back at my week, the quiet mornings, the hours of study, the challenges, the small victories, and the peaceful evenings, I feel proud. Not because my life is perfect, but because I am doing my best every day. Each moment, each step, each decision I make is shaping my future. I am not waiting for one big miracle to change my life. I am creating that miracle, slowly, with patience, with love, and with discipline. There are days when I feel strong and focused. There are days when I feel tired and unsure. But I keep showing up. That's what matters most. I keep reading. I keep practicing English. I keep learning, writing, dreaming. I keep believing that my efforts will lead me somewhere beautiful. My dream is not just to speak perfect English or to become a successful computer engineer. My dream is to become the best version of myself, someone who learns every day, who helps others, who lives with purpose and courage. I know I still have a long way to go. But I am not afraid. I trust the process. I trust my routine. I trust my days. And maybe someone watching this story today is feeling tired, lost, or afraid. To that person, I want to say, start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Don't wait for a perfect day to begin. Begin now, with what you know, with what you have. Create your own days that reflect your goals, your values, and your dreams. Because in the end, life is not made of one big moment. Life is made of days. And the way you live your days is the way you build your future. So be kind to yourself. Be patient. Keep going. Your hard work will become your success. Your quiet days will become your proudest story. These are my days. And they are the beginning of something amazing.